Iran firing back at fresh sanctions by the United States, with a senior official stating that they could mean the, quote, permanent closure of diplomacy between the two countries. President Trump responding to the rising tensions earlier today. Listen.
Do you have an exit strategy for Iran if war does break out?
You're not going to need an exit strategy. I don't need exit strategies. They had a path to nuclear weapons. We cannot allow Iran to have a path to nuclear weapons. And by the way, we have tremendous support. And people were very happy with what I did the other day by not doing something, okay? But we had tremendous, and we have tremendous support. Nobody wants to see Iran have nuclear weapons.
Do you think they take your threats seriously now, Mr. President?
I think everybody does. I think you do too. Goodbye.
Let's bring in former Army Brigadier General and author Anthony Tata. General, great to see you. Is this tough talk from the president? Is it necessary to deal with Iran?
Oh, absolutely, Jackie. I mean, they've had 8 years of coddling from the Obama administration, so it's about time somebody imposed some discipline on the process. Iran is the #1 state sponsor of terror. They have regional hegemony in mind in the Southwest Asia. They need pushback, and they're getting that from President Trump. You know, at this time, right now, we are at brinksmanship, quite frankly, with Iran, and I'd rather have some tough talk than missiles flying everywhere. And yeah, they shot down a drone, but I think the president made the right call in not attacking certain sites, because we don't know if they move civilians into those locations, and then you never know what kind of firestorm will be set off if we, you know, accidentally have collateral damage on one of those targets. So the president and his team are playing this exactly right now. And if you read the national security strategy, this is exactly what our plan is for the Middle East, is to check Iranian hegemony in that region while reinforcing our allies and keeping the free flow of commerce in the Persian Gulf open. So we're doing exactly what we said we're going to do in the national security strategy.
General, it's Carol Roth. You know, obviously Iran has been a bad actor for a long time. Do you think that sanctions will work with them? And are there any other non-military strategies and tactics that we have available that you think would be effective?
Yeah, that's a great question. I do think the sanctions will work and are working, and I think that's why they're lashing out right now. They're a little bit like a animal cornered, and they're baying back. And so as they scratch at us because of these sanctions, and particularly now going after the financial assets of the leaders of Iran. You know, this theocracy, they're all corrupt as they can possibly be, and they're all on the take. And so by going over and being able to freeze financial transactions with the leaders of Iran, I think is very important. And then when you look at the other elements of national power that are at play here, you have diplomacy. They've said they don't want to talk, so, you know, the president made that diplomatic overture. And then you have information warfare, and I think that's something that will continue to go on between the two, the Iranian regime and the Trump administration. And of course, you've got the military element of power. We're showing force there right now. We're collecting. We've sent over a lot of intelligence analysts to collect information and develop the situation so that if we do have to strike, that we are able to very precisely target those areas that need to be targeted, and we're also building the coalition. And I think that's the one area to directly answer your question. I think this coalition of Jordan and Israel and Egypt and Saudi Arabia, that does not want Iranian influence in the western parts of the Southwest Asia, Arabian Peninsula. I think building and tightening that coalition is the best thing we can do.
General, it's Robert Wolf. Have we had agreements where we've sat down with China, Russia, UK, France, Germany, and the U.S. collectively, put an agreement together, and then on an individual basis we leave that agreement, and then we think bilateral sanctions are going to work? Because I'm hearing from a lot of other generals who are completely supportive of us staying in the Iran nuclear agreement. And I believe that they have been compliant, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah,
so, I mean, compliant, it was not a very transparent agreement. I support the president and his rejection of the Iran nuclear deal. And when you look at it, really what it was a marketing tool for Europe. Europe wanted access to the Iranian markets, and America really got nothing out of it except for a less secure Southwest Arabian Peninsula, and it's a deal that, quite frankly, allowed Iran to continue apace. And I think Netanyahu showed us a year ago all the documents that he was able to demonstrate that Iran was not complying with the Iran nuclear deal. And so what other people say, it's not a matter really of opinion. It's the facts are that they continue to be the #1 state sponsor of terror with Hamas and Hezbollah, and threaten Israel, and they chant death to America even after signing this deal. And they got billions of dollars to fund terrorism locally and worldwide, and they have not changed their behavior one bit. And so this notion that they were complying, I think, is complete fake news and just journalistic jingoism. Where it's if President Trump takes a position, everybody else will support the mullahs.
Yeah.
And so that's my opinion on that.
General, switching gears for just a moment, one of the Russian Navy's most advanced warships has docked at a port in Havana's harbor. The ship is armed with cruise missiles and air deterrence systems. So is this something that we should be concerned about amidst all these other tensions? Yeah,
so I mean, in the Persian Gulf, as we look at, nobody can beat the U.S. Navy. And yes, they shot down a drone that was flying, at some altitude in international airspace. And, people can contest that. But, I trust our military to say what latitude, longitude our drone was at, and what altitude it was at, and where it was. And so as we have the capability to defend our troops, and we have the intelligence that Iran had planned a Tet offensive, if you will, within Iraq and along the Persian Gulf, of some of which they were able to carry out, damaging 6 tankers. And President Trump's rapid deployment of troops to that region to enhance force protection was wise, and he got hugely criticized for it, because whatever President Trump does, the left automatically supports the other side, whether it's Iran or Hamas or Hezbollah. And it's really troubling from a national security standpoint that you have people that will forget the national security maxims of the United States. The president's first standard is to protect American lives and property.
General, great to see you. Thank you so much for your time this evening.
Yeah, thank you.